I guess the nerve-wracking moment, I think, for a lot of people is when they start actually spending money on acquiring data in the form of ads and maybe not seeing that immediate return on investment. Is there anything you could maybe advise as to the best way to go about doing that?
Yeah, I think it really depends on how much someone has budget when they're getting started. So I always tell people, like, imagine you're going to make no sales for a month. Just assume you're going to make nothing for the first month. How much can you afford to spend that first month where it's not going to put you in a bad spot? So if you're like in school and you don't have an income coming in, probably not a good idea to go drop $2,000 your first month on ads. Maybe you want to drop $10 to $20 a day, like $500. Where if you're working a full-time job, you have a really good income, maybe you can afford to buy that data a bit quicker. But I still think there's a big thing with ads that I see a lot of people make is like they'll turn on their ads, they won't make sales, and then they think, oh, ads don't work. It's like there's so many other things that it could be. It could be your website that isn't good. It could be you don't have good suppliers. It could be you're not following up with your leads on abandoned checkouts. All these other parts of your business that ultimately make your ads work. Like you could have an account with, let's say, a ROAS of 4. So return on ad spend means if you spend $1 on ads and you get $4 back. So that would be a 4 ROAS. So you could have an account that's a 4 ROAS, but then you could go add some CRO to the website. You could put some social proof. You could install a system to follow up with abandoned checkouts. You could install an abandoned cart email flow. And then without changing a single thing in the ad account, the ROAS could go from 4 to 10.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big mistake a lot of people make is they just go in, they think they're just going to turn on the ads and then sales are just going to come pouring in and they don't really have to do anything else. I think ultimately like ads are how you set them up and the structure you use is very important. But I think the other parts of the business actually contribute more to the return on ad spend than the ads themselves.
Yeah, definitely. I think I see this as well, is some people expect ads to just be this magic solution that's ultimately going to make their business massively profitable, even if it wasn't prior to running the ads. And it's like, well, no, maybe you need to actually fix your foundation and build a better base than what you've got here. Because if you're not converting at the moment on low ad spend, suddenly scaling your ads up aggressively isn't going to mean you're going to get tons more sales. I mean, yes, you might do more revenue, but probably at the cost or your own expense on advertising spend. So I think it's best to analyze that data and, like you say, bring or build a solid foundation, whether that be conversion rate optimization, abandoned cart flows and things like that. So I guess we've kind of gone through quite a lot there on maybe how you would build a store and where would be the best place to start. Do you see, or what would you say is the key difference between someone who's doing okay and generating a bit of revenue to actually, wow, you've actually now built a very successful business here. Maybe you're getting to, 50K a month, 100K a month. Are there key differences between the business models? Or I'll add a caveat in there because it's something I see sometimes. Like you mentioned, sometimes you can strike it lucky with one particular brand who has a ton of search demand. You're getting very good positioning on the Google network, and maybe you're just really capitalizing on that bottom of funnel traffic. Sometimes it almost seems a little bit like luck of the draw. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I think ultimately, like you said, there are some things that can make someone. You could have two people the exact same. If they have different niches with different suppliers, one of them could do way better. So there is that element of luck. But then again, you could say maybe they did better research that led to them finding that. But ultimately, I think it is luck. But then I think there is also people who could succeed in any niche. And it just comes down to doing a lot of the little things right. Like you can give two people the exact same instructions on how to build a website, but one website can be absolutely amazing and one website could be terrible. So I think it's just ultimately like when the people who follow the instructions then actually do whatever it is very well. And it's the same thing with ads. You can give people the same videos on how to set up their ads, and you're going to have drastically different outcomes of people who go through the videos.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately it just comes down to having high standards, so doing things right, and then always improving. So anytime you try something new, you're never going to be an expert at it right away. But I think just having like that desire and that tenacity to actually go and really try and improve at something until you actually get good at it. I think like people who do well, they've already accepted that they're going to win and that wherever they are now. So I think in anything, whatever you're doing, if you're not getting the result you want, you just don't have the knowledge, you don't have the skills. Because if you had the knowledge and you had the skills, you would be getting the result. So there's just a gap between where you are, the knowledge you have, and the skills you want. So if your goal is to hit 100,000 per month and you're not there, then you lack the skills and the knowledge to get there. So how can you acquire those skills to get there? And if you just focus on acquiring the skills, then eventually once you acquire them, you will be there. It's like if you were going to the gym and then you wanted to lose weight. If you ate a certain number of calories, walked a certain number of steps, and worked out a certain amount of times a week, you will lose weight and you will get in better shape. It's impossible not to. And with high-ticket e-commerce, if you get very good at building a website, if you get very good at CRO, if you get very good at Google Ads, if you get very good at reaching out to suppliers and closing them, if you get good at those things, there's no way you don't succeed. So if you're not seeing success, it just means you lack in one of those areas.
For sure, you just lack the knowledge or the know-how to be able to be successful. I think that's really important that you've highlighted that, because I see it myself. I've mentored some people on a one-to-one basis and helped some of them go on to build successful high-ticket dropshipping stores that are now profitable. But then you give other people the exact same time and attention, but yet they drop off or they disappear. And even though you've given them the same time, energy and effort, and it's ultimately the same information, it can also be whether or not you're going to actually apply that information. I think a lot of the time, in some senses, people almost sometimes know what they need to do.
Yeah.
But actually, it's just actually taking that first step, but also staying committed and turning up every day. Because I think it's one thing that a lot of people maybe struggle with, which is, I don't want to say patience, but it's sometimes you really have to just keep putting in the reps. Like you said, if you're using the gym example, going to the gym, if you're trying to lose weight, you need to do the daily steps. You need to be in a calorie deficit. You need to do all of the things that are going to allow you to get to where you want to go. It's the exact same in business, but I think the most important thing is just the repetition and turning up every day.